Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Vegan Hour on Tuesday, June the 25th. This is episode 12, and tonight I have Julian and Vic from Head Over Hooves. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to be talking all about animals tonight and how to help them have a forever home, which is what you guys have provided. Thank you for everyone that's coming online. I can see quite a few names popping up there already. Some very famous vegans in that list there too, like the very famous Shane Simpson from Vegan Frothers. Good on you, man. Woo! First comment in straight away from Matt says, "G'day, Mr. Harry, Julian and Vic. I hope to visit your sanctuary one day. There's no doubt I'll fall head over hooves in love with the animals." oh, that's worse than any of the puns I'd come up with. And I'm wearing a Head Over Hooves hat tonight too. So let's have a look at, well, first off, let's do a big shout out to my sponsors, Vegan Frothers. All their clothing is cruelty free and you will be supporting farm sanctuaries by purchasing from them. So that's one of the wonderful supporters of the Vegan Hour. We also have Seth's Vegan home delivered pies. Have you ever had Seth's Vegan?
I haven't had their pies.
No? You haven't had any of their stuff?
I have had some of their desserts.
Yes. It's good stuff, yeah. So a big shout out to Seth's Vegan and also to Sindian Natural Food Products, which you can get Australia-wide. All their products are vegan and very healthy and very tasty. Let's have a quick look at what's coming up while you guys are coming online for the next week. We've got, tomorrow night, BKA Vegans Bowls Night. Have you been to BKA Vegan at Burley?
No, we haven't.
You know where you want to go after this. It's on the list. BKA Vegan does a bowls night on Wednesday nights. You get bowls of food for $12 and they're doing moussaka bowls tomorrow night, and I'm not sure what the other ones are. There might be some Mexican bowls or curry bowls in there. So get on down to BKA Vegan in Burley tomorrow night for that from 5 p.m. On Friday, there is an intimate plant-based cooking class. So if you want to cook intimate plants, this is the class for you. Don't ask me what they are, but that's at 6 p.m. at Parkwood on the Gold Coast, and I'll put the details of that in the comments after the live stream's finished. And also on Sunday, this is on the Gold Coast as well, is another health event called 2 Brains and 100 Trillion Bugs. I know I've got the 100 trillion bugs, but I don't have the 2 brains. That's nutritionist Robin Tudor, who was on the show from Empower Total Health. She was on the Vegan Hour about a month ago. She is holding that event from 10 a.m. At Robina on this Sunday, June the 30th. So that's got our events out of the road. We've got some comments coming up. Sarah says that Sarah from Seth's Vegan is the best. Love her creations, so yum. Walter says, hello again, guys. Bruna and Walter here. I believe Walter was down at Head Over Hooves on the weekend.
He was.
We'll be talking about, you had a, what was it? You had a volunteer day.
Yep,
we'll be talking about that. Amazing weekend we had at the sanctuary last weekend, he says. Yes. Lots of people have joined us there. Thank you for watching, guys. So I want to find out tonight about how you guys are helping the animals, because I love, in the promo video, you may have seen the promo video, I said that, as a long-term vegan, and also you guys are long-term vegans as well, I love that we have these sanctuaries where people have actually invested an amazing amount of time, obviously, and money and hard work and sweat and tears to give the animals a forever home. That is the most beautiful thing. And, we have it in Australia, we have it around the world, and it's just something practical to help the animals, and I think it's beautiful. So before we talk about Head Over Hooves, I want to find out a little bit about your vegan journeys, why you became vegan, and how that led you to Head Over Hooves. I believe it's been, you guys have been vegan nearly as long as I have. No, it's not quite true, but 2003, was it? You first went vegan. 2003. Yeah. So tell our viewers a little bit about what led you to seeing the light.
Well, I was a
typical
meat and sort of
Who wasn't?
man as well.
Who wasn't? Yeah, sadly. Yeah.
And then I was just in a cafe and I read a brochure that was from Animals Lib or and
this is Animals Lib in Victoria.
In Victoria,
yes,
And it was about sow stalls, and I immediately put down I think it was actually a
something with that.
Something like
You immediately put it down and said, that's it.
And said, that's it. And I said, You know, I went home and said, you know, we're vegetarian from now on. Victoria had already been vegetarian
previously.
most of you.
Yeah, probably for maybe about 7 years, I think.
You've been veggie for 7 years before that.
I think so.
But you
It
hadn't.
was somewhere in my teens.
Okay, but you were still having dairy.
Yeah, I was still having dairy and eggs.
And eggs,
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of eggs.
And a lot of eggs.
Yep.
And you weren't aware of the cruelty in those industries?
No, sadly I wasn't. I never
and
actually thought about it.
That's how those industries get away with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if people were aware of it, they might stop and go, "What the hell am I doing here?"
Yeah.
But that's what happened. You got a flash of enlightenment with that reading that brochure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the brochure, and then I'm the sort of person that likes to research things a lot.
Good.
So I went home
Yeah.
and I jumped online and read all about vegetarianism and veganism, and just read about the dairy and the egg industry, and went, after 1 week, I said, that's it. We're no longer vegetarian.
So,
I'm vegan.
so that was, let's see, what's that, 16 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2003. So was there back then, can you remember a reasonable amount of information back then online that you could research?
Oh,
still?
Yeah, there's still a fair bit around.
Yeah,
If
that's good.
you were to look for it, if you
Yes.
searched hard enough,
Because nowadays it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's so mainstream that, you know, I just love that, you know, you'd have to be really sticking your head in the sand to avoid it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And
you did have to look for it, obviously, back then.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes,
You would think.
you would. And so you both went vegan at the same time, 2003.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
And just you know, we won't dwell on it too long, but just coming up to, because we want to focus more on Head Over Hooves. But just thinking about that, 16 years being vegan, you know, what's your impressions of the changes you've seen in the world and in people's awareness and all that? How would you sort of describe it?
I think probably the biggest thing is just seeing like large companies getting on board. I think that just speaks volumes about the demand and how many people are actually interested in a plant-based diet.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Big companies don't come on board unless, because they usually do their research. They do it because they want to make money, and they start researching, and they go,
that's right.
Here's another area, you know.
And
So
we've always sort of joked like vegans will travel. You know, we used to travel all over Melbourne. If you found somewhere open, you would do that hour and a half drive,
that's right.
and you didn't care
that's right.
because the food was good at the other
Actually,
end.
I'm so glad you said that. See, people seem to, especially maybe more recent vegans, seem to. They can't understand that I'll drive to Brisbane for a meal, right? Yeah. It's like, hang on a second, that's nothing. If you're a long-term vegan, that is nothing. You'll go anywhere, you know, for a good vegan meal or something. So, I'm glad that you've experienced it.
We used to do the same thing. We used to travel from Castlemaine in Victoria to Melbourne.
That's right,
it was like two and a half
2.5
hours.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what you did.
And you'd go to a couple of vegan places where you're in town, make it most of it.
That's what. Hey, kiddies, that's what we used to do back in the dark, before electricity was invented. That's what we used to do. Okay, you guys have got it. We've all got it so easy now. You're like, oh, we've got to go to the next block to go to a vegan restaurant. Oh, geez, we might have to drive to the next suburb. I mean, it's so tough. I mean, like. Brisbane's now got 27 fully vegan places that I've counted on my list, and the Gold Coast is, and northern New South Wales got like 20 odd or something. You know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And before we went live, we were also talking about in the supermarkets the changes. Because back in the days before electricity, when I never went to a supermarket, or hardly ever went to a supermarket, I would hang out all the time at the health food store, because that was the only place that had all the vegan stuff. Nowadays, I hardly go to the health food store. I go to the supermarket because it's actually got all the lines that the health food store used to carry. You know, and when a fully vegan supermarket opens, guess where I'll be going. So, Sarah says, so great to see our big chain supermarkets putting plant-based options in catalogues now too.
Wow.
Yeah, they're in catalogues. They're in. I saw actually Walter, who was at your farm, posted on on the Gold Coast Vegan Forums, I think, a page of the Woolies catalogue or something, which was all plant-based food, and also, you know, you've just got like even. They put big vegan signs. I saw in one of the supermarkets hanging in the bakery section or something. Yeah, so like wow.
That's right.
I'm still pinching myself. I'm like, is this for real?
And how big the section is now.
Yeah, it's amazing. So,
Yeah.
okay, so that's brought us up to current time. So I really love, getting the whole, I could talk the whole show with people that are long-term vegans, because I really love sharing that experience, because it makes me feel like I'm not the only vegan in the village, that's gone through it,
Well, I still remember after we went vegan, Julian went down to the supermarket and he came back really proud of himself. He bought some soy cheese and we opened it up and it had lactose in it.
Oh, yes,
It said
yes.
soy, so you went,
and I could actually, we will get on with the main part of the show in a minute, but I'm just bringing up memories of how bad the taste of some of the early soy cheeses and that were. I mean, I actually bought them and took them home and used them as a doorstop because they weren't edible. So I used them as bookends, doorstops. I used them to, throw at things. But the last thing you do with the soy cheese was eat it, because it was terrible. It was terrible. I won't mention brands. Some of them are still in business, amazingly. I don't know how. And also Sanitarium. We mentioned before we went live. Sanitarium. They had a. I mean, the nut meat, which was edible.
it was, yes.
But they had the other stuff, nuttolene.
Yes.
Nuttolene. Now, I don't know what that was made from, but every time I opened the can and looked at it, I just went, are you kidding me? Why did I buy this again? Sorry, Sanitarium. Well, Sanitarium's been bought out by, Veggie Delights, I think it is now. Owns it. Yeah, I think that's it. But this is what us long-term vegans went through so that you guys today have got it easy. So you want to thank us, because we had to test all of this and somehow we survived. It wasn't. Anyway, and as Dana says, vegans are a big deal these days. Okay, so bringing us up to present time, you've got Head Over Hooves, and you have given a great opportunity now to have a forever home for animals that have ended up in the industry and somehow have come out of the industry or been rescued from the industry. So I'm really fascinated about how they get to Head Over Hooves. But first off, a little bit about Head Over Hooves. You've only set up. Tell us a little bit about it, the history, how it came into being, why you chose to come here, and so forth. So.
So we moved up to the area about 12 months ago. Actually, it was the start of July.
Started July last year.
Yep. To sort of start this whole thing happening. So there's actually a group of us. There's 4 of us involved.
Okay. Yes.
2 of them still actually live in Melbourne, but they will hopefully be moving up here eventually.
Okay.
That's really good, because we've got a nice little team. We can all bounce off each other, bounce ideas, and
that support is crucial, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
And we've all got our strengths, whether it's in animal care, land management, administration, fundraising,
good,
all those things.
Good. Yeah.
So that's been really good. But I suppose from previous experience, for a few of us, our big goal when we started the whole thing was that we really wanted to focus on farmed animals that ended up impounded in local pounds.
Yes.
And just trying to raise people's awareness. A lot of people aren't aware that you actually do get sheep and goats and pigs that end up at pounds.
I didn't know.
No.
I had no idea.
Everyone knows that, if you want to go get a cat or dog from the pound, we really want people to get to the stage where if they would like to adopt animals, that they either contact their local sanctuary or they actually contact their local council and see if they can save an animal that's, on death row.
How does a farm animal end up at the pound? What's the process there?
Lots of reasons. So we've got one pig at Head Over Hooves called Georgie Boy.
Georgie Boy.
Anybody that came to the farm on the weekend will have been charmed by Georgie Boy. He is a legend. He's the best pig in the world.
Yeah. What makes Georgie Boy a legend?
He's just beautiful. He's so friendly.
Great nature.
He's beautiful. But he was a typical case. Somebody had bought him as a miniature pig, which they don't really exist.
I've been told this.
They don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of breeders obviously trying to breed smaller pigs, but you cannot get teacup pigs.
Teacup pigs.
Doesn't happen.
I haven't heard that expression, but
So he'd been bought by somebody. They were keeping him in a residential area.
Yeah.
The neighbours complained.
Yeah.
Council just went and they impounded him, and he went straight to the pound.
Right. Okay. So what if you had not rescued him? What would have been his fate?
There can be a number of fates. I mean, some of the pounds do try. They'll put them up for adoption.
Okay. Yeah.
From experience, you do get a lot of people who you may get people who are genuine. You also
Yes.
do get a lot of people who don't have their best intentions in mind.
Yeah. That's really sad.
And when you get an animal like Georgie Boy, he very much trusted people. He'd grown up in a house. He was a local pet,
course.
and all of a sudden he was in a pound on his own.
Doesn't it break your heart?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. When the more you dwell on that, you're just like, wow.
That's right. So they can get, that sort of scenario. They can get out of their property. They jump the fence.
Yes. Okay.
If it's if it's cattle, farmers will generally, obviously, or people will generally pay to get them out of the pound.
Right.
But for your goats and sheep, they often won't come forward because they have to pay a fine.
So you're saying if it was cattle that had jumped from a farmer's property, they might pay the pound to get that.
Yeah, they'll normally pay the fee to get them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for what was it, sheep and goats?
Sheep and goats and pigs.
It's not worth it to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Which
And it can be not also just farmers. It can be general public. They don't want to go because they're going to get in trouble. Why did you have that animal? You're going to get a fine.
Could that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So rather than face that, they just abandon the animal.
Yeah.
It's really, really sad when you realise that that's the way the world operates, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're seeing that animals are just a commodity.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially when you're talking about, you've got beautiful animals and you're seeing their personality and all that. And you think, imagine if that was, like my brother or sister or something. And they are our brothers and sisters, but our human brother or sister,
Definitely.
and suddenly they were ripped away from their home and put in a place that they didn't know what was going on, I mean, that's, just thinking about it hits you in the heart.
Yeah, that's right.
So which is why I love that there are people like yourselves that put everything into creating this haven, farm haven, to give them a place that they can go to where they feel safe and protected and loved and nurtured and all those things. So you've got, how big is the property? It's fairly big.
Yeah.
75 acres.
75 acres. That's a decent size.
Yeah.
That's a bit of roaming in that. Yeah.
It's a little bit of roaming.
Yeah. You got flat land and hills and all that. It's
It's probably
a little bit of mixture.
80% hills.
You're outside Wollongbar, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
You're in a beautiful part of the world. I haven't actually visited their property yet, but I've viewed it from the air above. Don't even ask me how that's possible, but I have. And it did look beautiful from above. I even live streamed it from above. So, okay. So on the weekend, you had your first first volunteer day?
First volunteer day.
Okay, so tell me what was involved in that.
To be honest, it was a really fantastic day. We I think we had the most amazing bunch of people.
I saw some good pictures of that.
It was really good.
Yeah. So they came along, got a chance to meet the animals.
Yeah, so we started just with obviously doing OH&S.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes.
The OH&S feel and
Yeah,
everything.
you have to. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And then we took everybody for a tour since no one had been to the property. We wanted to show everyone around and introduce them to the animals that they would be working for. Once everyone felt comfortable with all the areas and all the animals, we just did a couple of light cleaning jobs. But having said that, they were actually jobs. They were so good to get done.
Yes. You appreciated having that help.
Yeah, because they weren't big jobs, but they were jobs, as I said to everyone, they weren't like a sort of daily requirement job, so I probably would have taken me 6 months to get them.
Yes.
Some of them were lifting things out of trailers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, the sort of things that if you were doing it yourself would take forever to do. When you got a team of people and you get knocked over in an hour or whatever,
It was amazing.
I can see how happy you are. The next volunteer day is tomorrow. It starts now, actually. They're not going to wait that long. But deservedly so, because what you're doing there, you've created this haven, and why not allow the public to come in, meet the animals, appreciate what you're doing, and help out a bit as well. Fantastic.
Definitely. So no, it was really good, and then the chef here cooked up a beautiful meal for everybody.
Yeah.
There was. So we
You
all
see,
sat down.
if I'd known that, I would have been there. I'll go wherever for a good meal.
Yes, we cooked up a big pasta and
Oh,
garlic
yeah,
bread and
great.
everything.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
all just sat around and
Yeah.
got to know each other a bit.
That is
Really
fantastic.
good.
That is awesome. So you've got, have you planned your next one?
Not yet, actually.
No, okay.
But probably in about a month's time.
Okay.
We've had a few more people email about volunteering. So yeah.
And is it, are people able to stay there?
Not yet.
Not yet,
We
yeah.
have
But
a
if
dream.
future plans, they'll be able to do that. Okay.
Yeah,
that
we
would
have a
be.
dream.
I have a dream. Dana says, thanks for the lovely work you do.
Oh, thank you, Dana.
Now,
Thank you.
how many? Tell us a bit. I want to hear about the animals and their stories and how you rescued them and where they, some more in depth. So you've got how many animals have you got there at the moment? You've got a fair few there.
It's about 58.
Yeah.
Is it 58?
I think it's actually 60 now.
60 now. Okay.
Wow.
We did a couple of rescues last week.
Wow.
I just thought about that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So you're talking about the what was the pig's name you were talking about?
Georgie Boy.
Georgie Boy. Okay.
Yes.
So Georgie Boy. How long's Georgie Boy been there?
Georgie Boy's been with us about 4 months, I think,
Yeah,
5
I
months.
think so. 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When somebody like Georgie Boy comes along, there's going to be like an orientation period for that
Yes.
animal, right?
Yeah.
That where they've got to sort of get used to their new surrounds.
Yep.
Like just like if you've adopted a cat or a dog or something, they're
That's
going to be
right.
very tender and timid and that,
Yeah.
aren't they? Initially,
Yep.
does it? I guess it varies between animals. How long it takes them,
Yeah.
depending on their personality.
It very much varies.
Yeah.
Personalities,
Type of animal.
type of animal, and also their previous experiences.
Yeah.
Yes.
That all dictates very much
Yes.
how long that period can be.
Yes.
Um,
And this is something that you've got a background in understanding and handling that, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
what's your background is as a vet nurse, is it?
Yeah.
So, what's your experience there? Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so I used to work as just a domestic vet nurse, just normal general practice.
Yes, yeah.
And then I did 2 years working at an emergency centre.
Oh.
So sort of your critical care and
Wow.
emergency care,
Yeah, yeah.
which was really good.
Yes, yeah. Would be pretty intense at times, I should imagine.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
But gives you great skills.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I think also it gives you a lot of empathy, I think, especially in emergency centres. You see people, they went to work and everything was fine. They've gotten home and their dog is now very much not fine.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's that sort of
Wow.
really
yeah.
high emotional.
So, oof, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that on a personal level? You know, if you, like, is it? Do you have to sort of take time away from it, sort of just, make sure that you're getting the right personal care sort of thing?
Well, you do. Burnout is very high.
Yes.
In vet nursing, it's very, very high.
Yeah, I can imagine,
and
yeah.
sort of emotional
Yeah.
fatigue and everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But you're also balancing that with a great personal reward
Yeah.
of helping people, helping animals, and just, that's fulfillment there,
yeah,
for
and
service.
you're also very busy. So
Oh, really?
you know, the emergency centres, you're very much under the pump. So
I can imagine.
you sort of just
Yeah.
you're just trying to save the animals, really.
Yeah,
It's really,
yeah, and that's it. That's it in a nutshell. You're trying to save
Yes,
the animals, and
yeah.
that's what you're doing now with Head Over Hooves.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name?
It was actually Kerry. Kerry came up with the name.
Yeah.
She bounced it off me very tentatively because we were all trying to bounce. It was so hard.
Yeah.
You'd come up with
Yeah.
this name and go, I've got it.
Yeah, and then you
you
check
Google it and go,
somebody's
"Oh,
done it. Yeah.
That's why I knew that name.
Actually, that's it. It's occurred to me that that's a good problem.
It is.
That there are so many places
True.
that have come up with. There are so many places that
There
a lot of
are.
the names are already taken.
Yeah.
Fantastic to all the animal
Yes.
sanctuaries and
Yeah.
rescues and all that out there.
That's
That,
true.
all around
Yeah.
the world. It's just there's some really well known ones that pop up from overseas as well that I hear, none of which I can think of now. But anyway, that's not that that's relevant. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching too, because I see a lot of people have joined us tonight, which is very, very nice of you. Thank you. Hope you're enjoying this information. If people want to find out more about Head Over Hooves, I mean, I've tagged Head Over Hooves in the title of this live stream, but they can always message you for further details and that, can't you? How can they support you?
There's lots of ways to get involved in what we're doing. Obviously, volunteering is a great way to get involved.
Yeah.
And we're really hoping that we can engage the local community and really become a part of the community.
Now, that community spirit also applies with the different farm sanctuaries because you actually, rather than compete with each other, have a nice cohesion.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's I love
really
it. That's
is.
the way it should be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it really is.
because it's not a competition. It's you're all on the same team. Trying
everyone has the same goal.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Helping the animals.
Yeah, no,
So I love that.
The other sanctuaries have been incredibly welcoming.
That is awesome. So again, a big shout out to the other sanctuaries for just
Thank
having the right spirit.
Exactly.
and not seeing you as competition. It's like no. They're taking a bit of the load off us. They're helping. It's like they've suddenly you're like an extension.
Exactly.
Excuse me.
It's been good.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Very good.
So, Julian, you have a passion of what do you call it? Land management, is it? Is it?
Yeah, land pasture management.
Yeah. So, and you use this passion and this knowledge to help create Head Over Hooves
I think it's
to sort of do the practical groundwork on it.
That's it. The dirty work.
The dirty work, yeah. Somebody's got to do it, haven't
Someone's got to do it.
So, what did you have to actually do? I mean, you got the property, and then you had to fence it, and what's involved?
The fencing was probably, you'd say it was minimal, I suppose, when we got on there.
So it already was. It was fenced.
It was fenced, to a basic extent, just for previous sort of cattle agistment sort of usage.
Right.
So a lot of barbed wire, 4 or 5 strand barbed wire. Which was needed to be either removed or upgraded, so that we could hold in the sheep and the smaller animals.
So you have to have barbed wire is what going to be dangerous for them, or is that the reason why you remove it, or?
Largely, it's dangerous for wildlife. So it can be dangerous for your little kangaroos and wallabies.
You've got some on the property.
Oh,
we have heaps.
Heaps of wallabies.
Heaps of wallabies.
Heaps of mums right now with gorgeous little dogs.
I love it.
And the bird life on the property is sensational. We get lots of those big black cockatoos.
Oh yes.
Yeah, right up near the.
Don't they make a noise?
Amazing.
They're loud.
Massive.
Yeah. They're just the wallabies on the property. They're just hopping around free.
They just can't get into the paddocks that have been meshed in for the sheep and the goats and the pigs. So we've sort of sectioned off maybe 20% of the property for those particular animals. And that was a big job in itself, just to get the wire meshing and get that up to scratch so that you could.
I mean, so to an outsider, you just go, "That's a fence." It's like no, there's a lot more involved than that. So even just what seems like the basics, has a lot involved. I can appreciate that even without knowing what's involved.
I'll get you next week to help with the next one.
You heard it here first, apparently. So, do you have to keep the different species of animals separate? Do you have to keep the goats and the sheep and the
Generally we do, because they tend to graze the pastures differently.
Right.
So in terms of rotating the animals through the pastures, you graze them differently at different times. Pigs, they just have a great time in the paddock and they'll just tear it to pieces. So our pig paddock.
Our pig paddock's amazing. They just moved in last week.
It is good.
And Julian spent about a month building the most amazing pig bedroom for them.
Oh wow!
It's huge.
A pig bedroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm sure if there's any teenagers watching, that's probably how your bedroom is.
They're very clean though. Pigs.
Yes.
Unlike teenagers, very clean.
And intelligent.
Very intelligent.
Yes. And that's the other thing that's really when when we're talking about animals and how we treat them, generally speaking, how mankind treats animals, it's even more disheartening when you realise that they are intelligent and they do have feelings and emotions and understandings of what's going on. And then when you watch any of the footage of what's happening to farmed animals and that, and it's just. I can't watch much of it because I just think, wow, it really hits you, doesn't it?
It does.
And in fact, that was brought home just on a slightly different level with something I watched a couple of days ago about the intelligence of chimpanzees.
Mm-hmm.
And that their short-term memory, I actually shared it, I think, yesterday or the day before, that their short-term memory is better than humans. And it was really impressive to see how they could retain numbers on a screen and work out where the positions of them were, and we couldn't. And I was just like, and you know, that brought home for me again this thing of how we mistreat animals when they are showing that they are actually more intelligent than us in different areas. There are birds that have incredible memories. Pigs have incredible memories as well. We could go through all the different animals and their abilities to solve. Chickens?
Chickens have incredible memories.
Yes.
And brilliant
And what about
problem
their ability problem solving? It's fantastic, isn't it?
It is.
They can work out how to open gates and things like this, you know, how to get to food, different, they come up with tools, they put them in their beaks and just
and
like
recognising people's faces, like they're incredible.
And here is mankind, generally speaking, that treats them like they're garbage. You know, it's just it's a terrible reflection on, you know, the general population's attitude. You know,
it is.
The only good to come out of it is the change. You know, the way that the change has occurred, and as long-term vegans, you know, the massive difference
change.
that we've seen. You know, maybe for people that have become vegan just recently, it's not as noticeable, but you know. But if you're long-term, it's like, wow.
Well, long-term, you remember going to cafes and you wouldn't even bother asking if it was vegan because there was no point.
Exactly. Exactly. So I take it a step back. I never went. I never went in the first place. I never went anywhere.
No, that's right.
That wasn't at the very least vegetarian, and that which meant there was just about nowhere that I went in any case. You know. So because again, it was like, what was the point? I was just going to
get a salad.
No, but I was going to get disappointed because if I went somewhere and asked, I was just going to get disappointed. So, so you develop strategies as a long-term vegan. We're back to talking about long-term vegan, but you would develop strategies. You'd go on a picnic and you'd take your own fruit and veg and sandwiches and whatever, wouldn't you? Yeah. See, we're talking on the same page here. I love it. But that's what you would do because it's like, okay, we know that we're right then, you know. So now it's different. So it's nice though to be able to sort of talk about how it's changed in the different areas. It's changed in the way that we view animals, the way more generally society has an awareness in our responsibility towards animals, that they are one of us. You know, that's fantastic. And how, as we were saying, how business has embraced the veganism is just, you know, such a big understanding now and such a big movement that business has embraced it. You know, and how available it is now, all the vegan options and all the fully vegan places, you know, so it's really amazing. So getting back to the animals, so tell us about some of the other animals there.
So some of the animals we've got, so on the property we've got 2 ponies.
Oh, beautiful.
We've got a little miniature Shetland pony called Francis.
Francis is a nice name.
Yes. And then we've got Forrest.
Forrest.
Yes.
Good name.
He's fabulous.
No surname like Gump.
He does actually have Forrest Gump.
Oh, right. Okay. Does he like chocolate?
Probably. Given him the option, but probably.
So how did that? With Forrest and what was the
Francis?
other? Francis. 2 Fs. Forrest and Francis. How did they come into your?
So Forrest we actually had before we moved up. So he was actually our pony that we brought up with.
Nice.
And Francis, she was again a bit of a stereotype. She's a miniature Shetland. She was a very loved family member. And her family that used to ride her obviously grew up. They were children. And as they grew up, Francis was too small to ride. So
oh, really?
She wasn't.
Sort of ironic, the difference between the pigs that end up too big and the Shetland ponies that are too small.
That's right. But they still end up in the same scenario.
So
because people go, well...
Francis ended up in the pound?
Francis was actually... She was left behind on a property. Yeah. So,
again,
same sort of scenario.
Again, how can anyone do this? I mean, really, you know, it's where is people's hearts? You know? It's just... So although not knowing the whole story, I just had a second thought there that maybe the people that left them behind also felt they had no other choice. and maybe they also felt distraught having to do it. I mean, I don't know. I would think in that situation you'd try and find a way, wouldn't you, to do something.
Yeah.
You don't just leave an animal behind, left to its own defences.
That's right.
You know, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
But that's,
it is. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So
So other animals we've got is I suppose the animal we should talk about is the one featured on our logo.
Logo, yes.
And Julian can tell his story.
I'm going to get close enough to the camera. It's on the anyway. It's on the logo on your Facebook page and your Instagram page.
Yes.
Yes.
Our little ambassador.
Yeah.
So that's little Jimmy.
Can we see it on this camera? You can. I can't even get it close enough to the camera.
Oh, that's good.
Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy.
Okay.
Yep.
So when I was actually driving up in July last year, and I had the four-wheel drive with the trailer on the back that we'd specially got for Miles because we've got epileptic sheep.
Epileptic sheep.
Epileptic sheep.
Wow.
So he needs to be medicated.
Yes.
On the dot, morning and night.
Morning and night. Yes.
Yeah. So I sort of got loaded up with all the medications, and I had to make sure that I stopped and medicated him at the right times. And he had a special bedroom in the back of the trailer, full of grass hay, and
this is the best look after sheep.
Yeah. He was so excited.
Going on a journey, and
he just was surrounded by food, so we put grass hay bales around in case he did have a seizure.
Yes, of course, to protect him. Yes. Yeah. Wow.
And he thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
He popped in and just went, I'm surrounded by food. Brilliant.
He was fine.
I love it.
Every time I opened the back of the trailer, he was just relaxed, chewing away.
He was more relaxed than you were driving.
Oh, much more.
Much more, yeah. So I had him in the back, and then I had a little dog that we just adopted a week. No, it was only 2 days. 2 days prior. Yeah. So I had little Izzy, our husky cross Kelpie, probably more husky than Kelpie. She's a firecracker. And then I had a couple of our cats and some chickens. So it was a very full
What, all in the same
entourage.
Trailer? Or?
Trailer and in the
back of the
ute. Yeah. So it was all loaded up, and then as I was driving through a regional area of New South Wales, I was wondering, the cars ahead of me, a couple hundred metres, were all swerving and slowing down around something, and it was getting towards the end of the day. It was starting to get close to dark.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there's a little lamb, probably 1 or 2 days old, running up the middle of the highway.
You're kidding? Running up the middle of the highway?
Yeah. So right on the double lines, just running. And of course, I apologised to Miles and stomped on the brakes. And I just quickly jumped out and scooped him up.
That was fortuitous, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
That is amazing.
Because there was a lot of traffic, a lot of trucks going through there at the time.
And you were going through with it. Wow.
And I just thought, this is a little bit of fate. Yeah.
How would a 1 or 2 day old sheep end up, or lamb end up in the middle of the highway?
So there was no
out of fence.
It was either that, or he's come off a truck.
Come off a truck, which is again a fate, you don't want to think about,
because there were no farmhouses in sight, no sheep in any of the paddocks around
for age, wow.
Kilometres and
and
kilometres.
Is it a he or a she? He was probably terrified,
He was screaming out, and
really,
he was a distraught little fellow.
Didn't know where his mother was or anything. Wow.
So I sort of had to quickly pick him up before the next, because there were just trucks coming, 100 metres away. So I had to dart out and grab him. And then I thought, this is going to be an interesting trip. I've had this little 1 day old, so I called Victoria to help.
I was back in Victoria.
Victoria was in Victoria.
And she jumped on the phone to the next town, which was Dubbo, and called around all the local vets. And of course, it was after hours, so frantically tried to get onto a vet so that we could get hold of some formula.
Yes,
and luckily we had a really lovely vet. I forget her name, but she was really nice. And so she met me after hours and sold me some formula, and then I scooted off to the supermarket and got some bottles and teats. and nappies.
Wow.
And
you are a godsend. Man.
luckily, Izzy,
wow.
our little dog, just sort of thought she was her baby and started sort of licking him. And
Really?
yeah, so it was, I had Izzy with her seatbelt on, sitting in the front seat, and then little Jimmy sitting with her, and she's just snuggled up next to him.
I just want to take a moment to say, this is a true man, right? This is what a true man. Forget these whackers that are around barbecues eating animals. This is a man. This is what a man does. Man, I'm impressed. I'm damn impressed. You got a good one here, Vic.
I do.
You do. You got a good one. That is fantastic. So, what did you name the lamb?
So we named him Little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy. Little Jimmy. Yeah.
He's named after a very close friend.
Yeah.
Who,
and how old's Little Jimmy now?
Little Jimmy. So he will be 1 on. Oh.
Because it was July last year, wasn't it?
30th.
Yeah.
He'll be 1.
Yeah.
Party.
Party for Little Jimmy. Yeah.
That's right.
And he's settled into the.
He's amazing.
He's a star.
That is one of the best stories. That was just. I hope. I mean, Monika said, "God bless poor baby, true hero, real man," and even I love coffee table vegan discussions. That was one of the best stories. Wow.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's fantastic. The fate in that. Wow.
Yeah,
Just
incredible.
That is incredible.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So now he now has his own special shelter with Miles, the epileptic sheep.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting Sophia.
Yep. She came through
She
the
came
pound.
through the pound.
She lamb at the pound.
So they were sort of the same age, which worked out beautifully. The timing was lovely.
And they've taken to each other.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're inseparable.
Wow.
So that's why I had to build a separate shelter area for them.
Yeah.
So they can be locked away in their own little bedroom.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Millsy, is it the sheep?
Miles.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Miles the epileptic sheep. How long have you had Miles? A while? Or?
Yeah, so Miles was our sheep before anything started. So we got him on our property in Victoria.
So was he epileptic from when you got him?
Yeah, pretty much.
And was he, when you first got him, did you have the treatment for him then?
No.
So you had to...
Yeah, he was undiagnosed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he was undiagnosed. Right,
We
okay.
adopted him,
Was it difficult to get...
It was, yes.
The I'm asking these questions for a reason, because I have experience with this, and I'm going to mention it in a minute. But so it was difficult to get a vet or whatever to work out the treatment needed?
Yes.
Yes.
It was a nightmare.
Yes.
And it was really hard, especially because I knew it was epilepsy. I got from my vet nursing. I was watching him.
Yes.
And I mean, he would go into clusters. Miles on a bad day would have a grand mal seizure every hour on the hour.
That's intense.
We just have to actually sedate him on those days. He'd
Wow,
just get Valium,
that's intense.
and you just have to sedate him.
Would he, when he went into the seizures, would he accidentally injure himself?
He could, yeah.
Yeah.
So he used to. You could spot it from a mile away. We could both see.
Well,
He'd
his
see
eyes
him about to go.
Eyes start to stargaze, roll back a bit, whatever. All
and
that.
he'd stargaze and pin his ears back, and you could see even like an hour before he'd get really sound sensitive.
Sound sensitive.
Really
That's an
by
interesting one.
sounds.
Yeah. And so when he had a seizure, did he lock his muscles up in his legs? Did he go really
spinning? So he'd spin around in circles, and that's when he'd hurt himself.
Wow, yeah.
So you'd see him go, and you'd have to run out and just hold him.
Yeah, hold him. Yeah.
Hurt himself.
Well, that's incredible.
But,
sometimes it was the other animals that actually told us that he was going into a seizure.
The first seizure, the first seizure, it was Tinkerbell.
The other animals, were aware of it?
Well, I was in the kitchen, and I could just hear Tinkerbell. She was just calling out, and I just looked out.
She's another sheep, right? Yeah.
I looked out the kitchen window.
So Tinkerbell was outside going, Vic! Hey, Vic!
And I looked out, and Miles was spinning around in circles.
Wow! Yeah. And you wonder what the hell was going on?
Wow. And then an hour later he went again.
If that's undiagnosed and untreated, an animal with that condition would probably have a short life.
Oh, absolutely. So he does have brain damage because it took so long to get him to get the seizures under control.
Yes.
We tried lots of different medications when I finally found a vet that was happy to work with him.
Yes.
We tried him on all your standard things, and
Yeah.
it took about 2 years really to get him actually under
Wow.
control.
Yeah.
And he's touch wood been brilliant for the last 2 years.
Did he? How did he come to you? Did he come through a pound or that? Or
No, so we adopted him from another sanctuary.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
When we first got our 3 acres, we decided we wanted to adopt some farm animals, and that's how we got him.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a few comments here. I'll just read these comments and I'll get back to it. Monika says, guys, spread the faith. We love you. The UK is a horrid place for animals. Cheddar cheese, Cumberland sausages, steakhouse. This is called British food culture. Yeah. And what about they have that awful dessert thing they call the black pudding or something in the UK? The horror that this poor baby must have gone through. Strength and courage. All very good comments coming there from Monika, and I'm assuming that you're watching from the UK. My family had an epileptic dog, epileptic Labrador.
Yep.
So I grew up with this quite intensive experience of what epilepsy was like in an animal, which amazingly went not undiagnosed but untreated, because whenever our dog had this epileptic fit, he'd be frothing at the mouth, the eyes would roll back, the legs would go really stiff, and we'd take 4 of us, the whole family, just to hang on to him until he came out of it naturally. But it took years and years and years and years and years before we actually were able to get him to the local vet during a seizure.
Yes.
So that, because the vet said, if you can get him here whilst he's having the seizure, I can work out the medication to give him. Because we're talking 20, 30, we're talking 30 years ago probably, you know, so it's probably improved, you know, in what they can do now. So what happened after that, of course, was we then had medication.
Yes.
So it was just, as he started to go into a seizure, tablet down the throat, and about 30 seconds, real fast, 30 seconds later, a minute later, he just like limp. It's just, you know, and then he come out of it, he's like, oh, okay, I'm all right. So, and he lived to like 16 or something. So he had a long life. It was an amazing dog. So yeah, it's like, you know, when you don't often hear of it, or I don't often hear of it. But when somebody brings up epilepsy, I say, I've experienced it, and it's it's really. So Monika says 3 acres of love. Well now you have 75 acres of love. That's really expensive. So obviously with 75 acres of love, you don't have to mow it because you've got the animals there to do it for you.
Well,
no?
You still have to buy.
You still have to get on the rider.
Grass up here,
Well, you're in one of the most beautiful. Northern New South Wales is one of the lushest areas in Australia.
It is.
It's a beautiful green area. Has great rainfall. Has amazing soil. It's just super lush, and doesning even get as cold as Victoria either, does it?
Despite what I was saying today.
Well, you're thinking it's cold because you've been here for a year or whatever. But so you've got beautiful area there.
We're very lucky. Yeah, definitely.
Very, very fortunate. So, what other animals? I see we've got about 10 minutes left. So, what other animals have really touched your hearts and that have really sort of
well, the other one that was sort of the startup was actually Henry. So we've got another pig called Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. That is his full correct title.
I love it.
And Henry, so he was also from the pound. And we heard about Henry before we had anything set up, basically. And
that's right.
I basically called Julian and said, Henry's coming home, and you need to build something that's going to keep him safe at night, and an area to keep him safe during the day. And you have 48 hours.
I love how your teamwork works. It's great. You give him the instructions and he does it. Like I said earlier, this is a real man. He knows how to take instruction and he does it, man. I'm voting for you for the next president of America, I think, because you could show them how to do things. But see, you said an interesting thing there, keeping the pig safe.
Yes.
So what safe from what sort of predators?
So obviously in northern New South Wales we've got wild dogs. Our property goes onto the border ranges.
Yes. So there are wild dogs going through the border ranges area? Really?
Through the whole,
okay.
Through the whole area.
Whole area, right down to the northeast of Victoria, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about feral cats maybe as well? Not that they would be...
Not
Not
so
so
much.
much.
No.
You
But,
don't tend to get
Yeah.
feral cats so much when you have
no.
dingoes. and
What
dogs.
about other sort of animals like snakes or...
Well, snakes. So at Head Over Hooves, everybody gets locked away at night. So
Right.
everyone has a stay.
Yep.
So all the sheep come in, all the goats come
Yep,
in.
great.
The ponies come up to a safe yard, which is actually around our house. So we've got
So what
lights
prevents,
everywhere.
say, snakes getting into the stables or
So
the...
snakes, we're very lucky where we are. We haven't had any venomous snakes.
Okay,
Just got a lot of pythons and
Yes.
your tree snakes and such.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All the birds get locked away in snake-proof, python-proof
Yeah.
enclosures.
Because
as
you've
well.
got birds here as well, haven't you?
Yes.
We haven't even talked about the birds.
So we've got chickens,
You've
we've
got chickens,
roosters,
roosters, yeah.
ducks, guinea fowl.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Guinea fowl, they love to, they love to, well, for me, they love to nip at my ankles.
Do you?
Oh.
Ours are nice, don't worry. They're all gentlemen. We've got 12 boys and they're all gentlemen.
Oh, that's good.
It's fantastic. They also came from the pound.
Did they?
Yeah, they were impounded because they were wandering around the streets, so rangers went out and caught them all, and
Amazing.
so they all ended up at the pound.
So you've got quite a collection there. There really is
Yeah.
quite a wide variety there, yeah.
So that was a huge part of the infrastructure, because when we moved up, we had to make safe areas, so day paddocks were safe.
Yes.
So
they-
Julian had to dog mesh everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about foxes? Yeah.
We don't tend to get foxes
No,
there again
okay.
because of the dogs.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, so
They
the
tend to
wild
get-
dogs keep the foxes? Or you
Yeah,
mean the
pretty
dogs
much.
on your property? Have you got dogs on your...
Oh, we've got our
They-
two dogs.
You've got your two
But,
dogs,
They're
yeah.
But yeah,
friendly, lovely.
Yeah.
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 That's more than,
yeah, the wild dogs, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So that was a huge part of the infrastructure, and building all
Yeah.
the shelters. So
Yeah.
Julian's built a lot of stables. And
So what about also some of the little creatures like ticks and things
Yeah.
like that? Is that an issue with
Yeah,
with
definitely.
a property like yours?
that's an issue with all of the animals.
Yeah.
So part of our animal care is everybody on the property gets a full body tick check every 3 days, so
Wow.
twice a week.
Wow.
We round up all the
Horses
different
every
groups. Horses every day get a
Wow.
full tick check.
That's
in
a
tick
lot.
season,
There's a
they
lot of
all-
work involved.
yeah, in tick season they all wear tick collars, and when
Yeah.
they get their check, they also get a full spray down with pomoxin, just to make sure that they're not
Yep.
nobody's going to attach themselves to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm starting to gain an appreciation of how much more involved there is than I thought there was in the first place. I thought it was just the
Yeah.
occasional fence being built and then
No.
lock the animals up at night.
No, that's all that. And,
Wow.
you get sick animals, and you've got your all your hoof trimming and all your worm treatments and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing.
Wow. So that's I mean, obviously from a financial point of view, there's a lot of costs
Yeah.
involved.
There are a lot
Yeah.
of costs involved.
So
yeah.
if people want to help with that, help the animals, they can
Yeah.
help financially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they can do that at our webpage.
Yeah.
So if you head to
Actually, I'll type because you've got a website as
We
well,
do have a
haven't you?
website,
Let me
yes.
type that one in. I can do
Yeah.
that while we're
so
live.
that's headOverhooves.org.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, there's lots of ways to get involved, whether it's
See if
volunteering.
I'm typing in right. See if I'm any good at this. It'll come up in a second.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it should bring up its little picture in a minute, or not. There we go.
Yay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
So in terms of donating, there's different ways as well. We do have some beautiful animals that are available for sponsorship, so people can actually sponsor them. And Georgie Boy is one of them. Just saying. But,
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good.
And
Yeah.
Jimmy is as well. So Jimmy's one
Excellent.
of them. And then we've
And-
got little Matilda.
And the sponsorship is like a ongoing monthly sort of thing, or
Yeah,
whatever.
and it's whatever
Yeah.
people feel comfortable.
Okay, that's
yeah.
great. So, see, I love that, you're doing the hard work, and then people that, don't have the time or aren't in the position to be able to do it can also contribute. They can be part
Yeah.
of it by
Yeah.
just putting a little bit of money towards it to help you guys,
Absolutely.
So that way everyone's got their little place where they fit in helping the animals, because
Yeah.
that's the ultimate thing, is to help the animals.
Another great way people can help help any of their sanctuaries is adopting. That's
Right.
a brilliant
Okay.
way to
Tell us.
actually help you.
Tell us about that.
So obviously a big part of ours is also trying to be able to adopt animals that we rescue. The more
Yeah.
we adopt, the more we can continue to rescue.
Good. Yes. Okay.
Everybody has, can get to capacity, and obviously we really don't want to get to capacity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, people that have always had that dream of getting those 3 acres, you know, we really encourage them to do that.
So if you've got 3 acres of love, and
2 acres of love,
and you want to have maybe a pig on there, or
a couple of animals. I speak to lots of people from the city, and they talk about moving out to the country. But they're scared, and they go, "Oh, but I'm a city person," and it's exactly what we were. We had no idea what we were doing. It's amazing our animals survived. But
don't say that.
When we first got them, because we sort of, you know, you go to your local feed store and they give you all this advice, but it's all for, you know, they're not thinking about pet animals. So, you know, you're following this advice, and a big part of what we want to be able to do is actually support people through that journey of actually adopting animals, transitioning. We're really there to actually help them.
So if somebody wants to adopt an animal, they can contact you through your website or through your Facebook page, and then you know, just take it from there. Basically.
That's right, and we can help them with, you know, setting up, you know, advising them, setting up infrastructure, what animals are suitable.
Excellent.
How many animals? That's another big thing.
And obviously there will be a process to vet them as well, to make sure that the animal's going to a good home. Obviously, you know, and that they're capable of looking after.
That's right. But a lot of people are scared to take that step.
That's understandable.
That's
understandable. Maybe I should get a goat for where I live, because my property is like sloped like this.
Yes.
You know, it's like, as long as you've got goats that have 2 legs that are about a foot shorter than the other 2, you know, you can.
Goats are very nimble.
They're
very nimble.
I've seen them standing on some pretty ridiculous. Cliffs. Monika says, do you have a series of these vegan discussions? And I guess you're referring to this, the Vegan Hour, and yes, this is actually our 4th year of the Vegan Hour, and all of the previous episodes are on YouTube, and this one will be on YouTube in about a day's time as well, so you'll be able to find it on my YouTube channel. So yes, I do have a series of them. Every 2 weeks, actually, every fortnight, I interview different vegan people that are doing wonderful things in the world to help animals, as these guys are. And actually, looking at the time, we're coming up close to the end of an hour, and we've had a lovely discussion tonight, and I've gained such an appreciation for what you guys are doing, because I never really, you know, I just didn't know. It's amazing. Some things Harry doesn't know. Most things. And so I've really gained an appreciation. I love what you're doing for the animals.
Thank you.
I love that you've been on this vegan journey for quite a while, and you've seen the changes, you know, and you've set up this beautiful property, and that you're willing to adopt out and you know, sort of continue a beautiful cycle of other people helping animals as well. And I really implore people watching as well to help if you can financially, or volunteer. Come down, see the property, volunteer. It's rumoured I'll be there one day. You know, help the people that have really put, you know, the effort in to help the animals, which you guys have. So and also just one final thing there too, that I believe my sponsors, Vegan Frothers, have reached out to help you a little bit as well.
Yes.
Nothing official yet, but I just want to do a big shout out again to Vegan Frothers, because they've actually offered to help with some food, and I think that's very, very generous. They've made a very generous offer towards you guys, so thank you, Vegan Frothers, because that's really wonderful. So I want to thank you guys so much. I've got to give you a handshake because I can't reach out to give you a hug. But I want to thank you guys so much for making the effort to come up here tonight to be on the Vegan Hour. And anyone watching the live stream, you can you can make comments after the live stream's finished. You can also contact Julian and Vic directly at any time and find out more information about the next volunteer day, which I'll be posting on my page. And also, as I mentioned a minute ago, this episode will be on YouTube within a day or two. So before we close off for tonight at 8:30, let's have a look at what's coming up in 2 weeks' time for episode 13 on Tuesday the 25th. No, that can't be right. It's not Tuesday 25th of June. Tonight's Tuesday the 25th of June. Okay, whatever the date is in 2 weeks' time, it's July something or other. Actually, hang on a second. I do have it written down here so that I know what I'm talking about. On Tuesday, July the 9th, I'm talking to a Gold Coast vegan doctor Dr. Andrew Little, and there's not too many vegan doctors on the Gold Coast, so this guy is very switched on. I'm very, very keen to find out more from him. So join us on Tuesday, July the 9th for that. Thank you everyone that's been watching. Thanks for all your comments. Please share the live stream and also the YouTube video when it comes out. Live vegan and save lives, guys. And the Vegan Hour will be back in 2 weeks' time. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.